Hey, yo. Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video, and today we're going to be doing another edition of what I am thinking. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, know nothing about this video series, it is exactly how it sounds. I sit down and I talk about what I am thinking. Now, it can be about anything. It can be about food, it can be about light bulbs, it can be about the sun, or leaves, or bandanas, doesn't matter. Chances are it's going to be something geeky related or related to my channel, like comic books, movie, video games, so on and so forth. So, what am I thinking today? Well, today I would like to discuss with you guys my thoughts on the DC New 52 1 year later. What's my overall opinion, what I like, and what I don't like. This was actually, it's kind of funny because someone recommended that I do this, and I already had this planning in the works. So, the person was probably using psychic powers and, trying to invade my mind. Luckily, Martian Manhunter taught me how to protect my thoughts. Me and John Jones we're buds, we're homies. But, no, today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk about my overall feeling for the New 52. I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to talk about the goods and the bads, because as much good there is bads too. And I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head, so if I do miss stuff, I'm sorry, because I could do this video right afterwards. I'm like, shoot, I forgot about, I don't know, Jason Todd and what I wanted to say about him. Or, oh, I wanted to talk about how Superboy is being used in this way, but I completely forgot. It might happen. But these are just the raw things that come right to mind. And I think that's probably best because I don't have it listed out. These are just the things that, pop into my head. Sometimes stuff that comes right to you are the biggest and most important stuff and the things that stand out the most to you. So, we have had the New 52 for almost a year now. We're in the issue 12s now. We're 2 weeks into the issue 12s. We have 2 more weeks, and then it's been a year. And what a year has been. For me, the New 52 has generally been a very, very positive thing. And I wanted to say in this video, my opinions may be different than other people's opinions when it comes down to popular beliefs. There's a lot of things I'm going to say in this video that might piss people off, and there's a lot of things in this video that a lot of hardcore fans may not enjoy. But again, this is just an opinionated video. I'm sorry, I do not mean to offend anyone if I say something, because when I get to the goods and the bads, some of you guys may want to smite me down with furious vengeance. I'm just preparing you now, okay? Just to let you know, if you try to do that, I do have Captain Jean-Luc Picard here. He's going to protect me, but some of you guys may want to strike me down with furious vengeance. So we'll get to that when we get to that. But on a whole, I think the New 52 is... It was scary at first. At first, I was like, shoot, they're rebooting everything. All the stuff that I read that I've come to know and love, all the continuity is going to be gone. But then we found out that it's not quite a whole reboot. There's a lot of stuff that's still in continuity. There's a lot of stuff that isn't, and I'll get to that later. But on a whole, it is a relaunch. But if you look at it in its entirety, it really is a reboot. It's more or less a soft reboot, if anything. I mean, we do have stuff with Batman and Green Lantern still in continuity, but even the stuff that's still in continuity is different. Like, for example, Batman had 3 Robins before Damian, but technically it should be 4 because you should count Stephanie Brown. But he had, Jason, Dick, and Tim, but their relationship was different. Like, Dick wasn't brought in at age 12, he's brought in at age 16. And he was Robin only for maybe 2 years before becoming Nightwing. Tim Drake may have not actually been Robin. You don't know, but he was there for the shortest amount of time. How Jason Todd came back to life is slightly different. So even though we have a lot of the continuity still in continuity, it's slightly changed. But I mean, I think on a whole, it's generally was a good thing. And I'll tell you why personally it was a good thing for me. And a lot of people are going to have different opinions on this. It's going to come down to personally what you think. But for me, these are the things that stood out. One is it allowed me to get into individual issues, which is something I wanted to do for a long time. But, I'm an all or nothing person. I have to buy all or watch all or do all of everything or do nothing. Like, for example, if I was to watch a television show, let's just take, for example, if my friend wants to get me into Psych. He loves the show, and he's like, dude, you got to get into Psych. and he's like, just try an episode or two. If I tried an episode or two, I would want to do the whole thing. So before the New 52, if I wanted to collect, Batman in individual issues, I feel like it would be necessary to collect every Batman issue, which is impossible because I wouldn't have the money or finances to do it. But that's just what I would want to do. But the New 52 with these new number ones kind of releases that silly constraint I have on myself and allows me to collect the issues and have a full collection of those particular comic books. And it's also inviting to me as a new reader because it allows me to jump on comics that I normally wouldn't have done. And having the individual issues allows me to keep up to date with all the comics because, as you guys know, I read the trades, but I wouldn't actually have the content in front of me until a couple months after the story arc was done, and that kind of pissed me off. I mean, I could read online, but it felt spoilish. With this, I get the issue right away. I know what happens when everyone else does. Maybe a little earlier because I work at a comic store, but the fact of the matter remains is it's great because I keep up with things, and that's something that I was missing as a comic fan. Not when I was really younger, when I was collecting the issues when I was younger, but in my resurgence, it's I've been doing nothing but trades. So it's good that I get to do that. It allows me to keep up to date. I also like how DC has, and I'm going into the life, so I'll try not to do this, but I think the New 52 is also good because, for me, because it gives me that diversity. And I'll divulge into that more in the goods, but it really does give me a large things to work with. But on a whole, I think the New 52 was the right idea. It's a breath of fresh air. It was inviting to new readers. It was great for old readers who were welcoming of it. And on a whole, I think it was one of the best things that happened to comics in a while. That's maybe a bold statement, but one of the reasons why I like DC more than Marvel, there's several reasons, and it's just opinionated, but one of the reasons is that DC maintains this continuity. Sometimes it's a mess, sometimes it isn't, but it's they reboot and they restart and they clean things up. Comic books is a completely different media than television or than movies or video games or regular books. Where, if you read Harry Potter, you read those 7 books, that's done. The story is done. Although she thinks she's going to do 2 more, the story is done. You don't need to reboot, you don't need to clean that up. It's not like Harry Potter from the 60s has to be the same age as he would be if we read it in the 90s. Whereas Peter Parker has been like this, it's been 40 years since he's been on the scene, and Peter Parker is only like 5 years older than he was when he started. I don't know Peter Parker's age. He started when he was, what, 15, and he's 20 something now? That's besides the point. But the thing is it's hard to believe that Batman would be, around for his comics been around for like 70 plus years, and he's still 30 something. So it's always good to have a nice reboot, and it cleans up continuity. And that's one of the things I don't like about Marvel. Everything is canon, and it would just bug the shit out of me. It would, because I feel like I need to collect everything, and it would just be too messy and too much trying to coordinate and map everything out. Things are a lot, I think, reboot every 20 30 years, it refreshes things. You can still keep things in continuity through each and every single reboot DC has done, from the Golden to Silver Age to the Infinite Crisis, to not Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths, to the New 52, which are the major reboots, for lack of a better term. Batman's continuity is still relatively intact. It's updated, it's polished a little, but it's relatively intact. So I think it was a great idea. I love the New 52. I know a lot of people are still hesitant about it, um, but on a whole, and I think a lot of people are still hesitant on it because a lot of things they liked were changed. But on a whole, um, I think it's great. Now on to the goods and the bads, because there are a lot of goods and there are a lot of bads, and these things are just coming off the top of my head. Just gonna throw them out to you guys. So first good is I like how they streamlined their comics. Uh, I like how we have the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, um, Green Lantern. We have the basic Justice League, and then we have the Batman books, and then we have the Dark books, and then we have the Green Lantern books, the Superman books, the Young Justice books. It's very streamlined. There's a corner of the DCU for everyone. If you want to go into the more on the edge gun shooting kind of books, you can get Suicide Squad or um, All Star Western. If you want to go for more of the Superman books, you go for the Superman books. If you want the traditional superhero books, you go for Justice League. If you want the Batman universe, you go there. I like how it's streamlined, but I particularly like how they cleaned up continuity when it came down to certain things. This is one of the things a lot of people disagree with me on, but I like that there's only been one incarnation of the Justice League: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg. I like there's only been one. I love Justice League, but I think it's great that it's one incarnation of the main Justice League team. It's fine if we have Justice League International, or Justice League West Coast, or Justice League Antarctica, or Justice League Europe, or Justice League, Istanbul, or Justice League India, or Justice League China, or Justice League Moon, or Justice League Sailor Moon. It doesn't really much matter. The main Justice League team, I like the fact it's only been one incarnation. Um, I think that's great. I think it's very clean and it's nice and neat. So I like that. I like how, and it comes down to continuity. I like how continuity's been cleaned up a bit. Some of the unnecessary stories have been removed. There's some great stories that have been removed. I'll get into that more later. But a lot of the unnecessary stories have been removed, and things are a lot more cleaner, a lot more easier and streamlined. A lot of people saying they're having trouble with continuity, and I can see how there is a little bit of trouble with knowing what's in canon and what's not in canon, but I think it's a lot easier to map out now than it was a year or two ago when it was just a complete mess. I mean, I know what to expect with continuity when it comes down to certain characters. Batman's been around for 10 years. I know that. It's a fact. I don't have to try to map out his career like I did in my timeline video. Superman, I know, has been around for 5 to 6 years. Same with the rest of the Justice League members. All of them kind of came in insurgents at the same time after Batman. It's simple and it's straight to the point, and I think it's a lot easier. I think having a lot of continuity is good, but having understandable continuity is good too. So that's one of the things I like. Um, I love the redesigns for the costumes. Maybe not all. Like Red Robin's costume, I think looks silly, just silly. But for the most, I'm gonna use the Justice League as an example. I think that the Justice League comics they have costumes right now, from Batman to Cyborg to Superman to Flash to Wonder Woman to Green Lantern and everything in between, I think they're the best looking costumes that each respective character has had. Did it take time to get over the no underwear on the outside for Superman and Batman? Yeah, it took a little bit of time. But once I got over that hurdle, I fall in love with it. I think this is the best Batman suit, the best Wonder Woman suit, best Superman suit. The Green Lantern didn't change that much. In Flash, I mean, there's a few aesthetics things that are different, but best Cyborg, best Flash, best Aquaman, best Green Lantern. I just love how the costumes look and the redesigns. It's the same thing with Nightwing. I was pissed that they changed Nightwing's color from blue to red. But now that I've gotten over that hurdle, I love the new costume. Red Hood's costume, I think, is great. There's a few costumes that I don't like. Like I said, Red Robin's costume I don't like. Supergirl's costume, I think the other one was better. The skirt and the midriff and everything, I think that was better. But other costumes like Superboy's costume, I like a lot more. I know a lot of people like the jeans and the shirt, but I like the Tron suit. I think it's cool looking. Uh, Wonder Girl's costume looks pretty badass. I like Simon Kane's costume. It looks actually pretty cool. So I for the most part like the redesigns for the costumes. Like I said, there's a few I don't, but I'd rather have 90% of the costumes I like be costumes. I mean, 90% of the costumes out there, costumes that I like and costumes that I enjoy, then and 10% not, then be mixed each way. Um, and a lot of the costumes are the same. Like Green Lantern's costume changed a little on his shoulders and his neck. That's about it. Or Catwoman's costume is relatively the same. Nightwing's costume is just a color change, and then the gauntlets are a little different. But you know, I love the costumes. Like Batgirl's costume looks so good. Looks so good. I love how Batgirl's costume looks. I like the new Cyborg look. How he's a little bit bulkier, very machine-like. It just looks good. So that's another thing I like about costumes. Another thing, a side note, a thing that I like is I love, I love how Cyborg is a founding member of the Justice League. Cyborg, you know, he's one of my favorite all-time characters. He's in the top 7. Um, or around there. Of he's definitely in the top 10. When I started reading the new Teen Titans, there's three characters that kind of I grew attached to. Dick Grayson and Donna Torres are definites. I love Dick and Donna; they were my favorites. But Cyborg, of all the Teen Titans members, he's the one that kind of stuck with me, and I love the evolution of the character through the years. In the publishing history, he starts off as the Teen Titan, kind of a reluctant hero, and now with the relaunch, he starts out. He's now a founding member of the Justice League. But I love how he's a founding member of the Justice League because he fits in there so well. I love John Jones, but other than like four abilities he has, like telepathy or phasing through objects or shapeshifting or invisibility, he's really just a carbon copy of Superman. Cyborg brings stuff to the table that no other superhero could. He fits so well in the Justice League. I love where they put Cyborg. I think this is my favorite incarnation of the Justice League. It just works well. Here's one of the things that are gonna piss people off a little. I like how there's been only one incarnation of each superhero. I mean, with the exception of Green Lantern. I like that there's only been one Flash. I like how there's only been one Superman. I like how there's only been one Wonder Woman. Batman. Dick was Batman for a bit, and so was Azrael, we assume, and we have multiple Green Lanterns. But I like how there's only been one Aquaman. I love that. I love Wally West to death. Don't get me wrong, I do. Wally is within some of my favorite superheroes, but I like how Barry's been the only Flash. I think a lot of people are going to be mad with me about that, but I like that. I think Wally does. I think the reason why I like that is two things. One is I like Barry more as a character, but it's a little bit more streamlined. It's a little bit more easier for me as a fan to appreciate where there's not 9 million flashes. But also, I think when Wally makes his return to the DCU, I don't think he needs to be the Flash. I think Wally has outgrown the shadow of the Flash. A lot of people say, well, Wally's one of those one characters that outgrown his mentor. Yes. But Wally, at this point, everyone wants to be the Flash. He's constrained by the identity of the Flash. He doesn't need to be the Flash. Wally can be his own person, his own story. He doesn't need to be constrained by the mythos of the Flash. And I want that for him. I love Wally West, but I want him more on his own, doing his own thing. Um, oh, sorry, itchy eyes, because I wear contacts. But uh, you know, I like how there's only been one of each superhero for the most part. Green Lantern and Batman are the exceptions because there's like 20 Green Lanterns, and Dick and Azrael have been Batman. But I love is again, I like it so much. Um, So that's another good about it. Diversity. I said this before, and I'll say this again. I think DC has given me the opportunity to branch out into different genres of comics that I never thought I would branch into. I have my traditional superhero comics. I have my Justice League comics, which is like Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, DC Universe Presents, Hawkman, so on and so forth. Then I have my Batman comics, which is the whole Batman family, the whole Green Lantern family, with the exception of Core, and the whole Superman family. I have that. But then I'll branch off and I'll read a horror comic with Animal Man and Swamp Thing, a vampire comic with I Vampire, a Western comic with All Star Western, a Sword and Sorcery like comic with Demon Knights. I'll read a teenage comic with Ravagers or Blue Beetle. I'll read a edgy comic with Voodoo, who's not really a good guy, or Deathstroke, who's not really a good guy either, and is giving me diversity with comics that I can read. I like to feel that I've utilized almost all the new 52. The only two titles that I haven't picked up is Legion of Superheroes and Frankenstein Agent of Shade, and I'm a little upset that I didn't get Frankenstein because I kind of want to jump into him, but he'll be in Justice League Dark, so I'll get my fill from there. But I feel as though I've utilized the new 52 to its fullest potential for the most part, and now I look at my comic book lineup, and I don't necessarily look for characters now. I look for diversity. I mean, I still look for characters, but it's like Green Arrow. One of the reasons why I was getting Green Arrow is because he's Green Arrow. But I said, screw it. I'm not enjoying this book. I could be reading some other book. I could be reading Ravagers right now, which is a completely different book that I don't have. So might as well go for that, and I do now. So I do like the diversity a lot. And I also like, there's exceptions to this, like, Superman or Static, I think are two exceptions to this. But I like how the writers are given a lot of freedom to go overboard and do what they want to. Again, I know there was trouble with Static and there was trouble with George Perez on Superman, but Superman's heavy in editorial control now with the stuff that's going on with him. I think basically you have to move to the beat of editorial and to Grant Morrison's drum when it comes down to Superman. And I don't even want to get into what happened to Static, but I do like how things are. Writers are allowed to be pushing stories, are allowed to do stuff, and allowed to go out there and test the limits of their characters. So that's another thing that I do like a lot. Um, and the New 52 also allows me to get into characters that I never thought I would like. Like, I never liked Constantine, but now I fall in love with him on Justice League Dark. I went to Justice League Dark for Zatanna, and I'm staying for her, but I'm also staying for the Constantine too. And Deadman's good in Justice League Dark also. So I really do like that it's exposed me to new characters. Swamp Thing, I love Swamp Thing. He's awesome. He's really cool now. And even comics that are getting canceled, I have an appreciation for Voodoo and Captain Atom. I like Captain Atom in New 52. I think his comic was very slow, and I think it was intimidating to a lot of people. But I do like him as a character in the New 52. I think this is one of the better interpretations of Captain Atom, and I'll give J.T. Kroll a lot of credit for that. But you know, that is just I like how I'm exposed to all these new heroes and these new characters, which is good. So those are kind of the good that just come off of my head. A lot of good, and I do really love the new 52, but everything has a good and everything has bads also. So let's get into the bads. And a lot of my bads, some of them are going to be continuity issues because while I am happy they did a lot of changes and relaunched and cleaned up continuity, there's a few decisions that they made I think that were bad ideas. First and foremost, this is not a continuity thing, but why don't we have a Cyborg comic? Why don't I love Cyborg? Why don't we have a Cyborg comic? He can be like that patriotic hero kind of. That's kind of how I would write him because he kind of comes off as a patriotic hero recently. They always put the American flag on his emblem. You see him standing there with the American flag. But on a whole, why not utilize? We put him on the Justice League. Why aren't we utilizing him on the Justice League? Hmm? Hmm? Uh, but continuity wise, where's Donna Troy? Donna's in my top four superheroes. Where is she? Hmm? It bothers me. I love Donna Troy to death, and I want to see her. I want, and I'm afraid that when Donna Troy comes back, she's not going to have the history and relationship that she had with Dick Grayson, which is one of the attractors to the character. Is the fact that she's had this amazing friendship with Dick Grayson, which was a friendship. It was a beautiful friendship. They considered themselves best friends and brother and sister. It wasn't a romantic relationship. It was as close to love you can get without being in love, but it bothers me we don't have her. It bothers me she's not around. It's the same thing with Cassandra Cain. Those are the two that are pissing me off. It's like, where are they? Grant Morrison said he'd be using her in Batman Inc. But it's gonna be weird because Lady Shiva's not that old in this in DCU. She's only like 20 something because Lady Shiva has been previewed for issue 13 of Nightwing, which I am looking forward to. Lady Shiva is one of my favorite villains. And they said that Lady Shiva's life parallels uh, Dick Grayson's in that she's around his age and all that. So it's be interesting how they incorporate Cassandra Cain. But where is Cassandra Cain? I want Cassandra Cain. I may love Barbara Gordon as Batgirl, but I think Cassandra Cain should still be around. I think she's still a great character. So, there's a lot of people missing. Wally West is another one. I mean, I love Wally West, but I'm not too upset that he's not around. But um, there's some characters I think are missing that they really should be focusing on and bringing them in because, excuse me, that was building up for a while right in here. But there's a lot of characters that they don't have around that's just pissing me off. So that's something. Uh, there's more continuity thing. I don't like the fact that there wasn't Dick Grayson's Teen Titans or a new Teen Titans. Now, a lot of people would be saying, well, Andrew, if you want the new Teen Titans, what about Cyborg? He's a founding member of the Justice League. Well, you can do it two ways. One is you can say that Cyborg created the new Teen Titans in the New 52 as like a side project outside the Justice League. Or you can say that he just, would occasionally jump over the Teen Titans to help them out because he was technically a teenager when he still created the Justice League with the rest of them. He was 19, 18 or 19. So again, I don't like how there wasn't a Teen Titans before the Teen Titans. Um, because some of my favorite stories of all time are the New Teen Titans by George Perez and Marv Wolfman, and knowing they're not in continuity does bother me a bit. Can't help it. Um, uh, Marriages in the New 52. Well, I'm okay with Iris West and Barry Allen not being together because we really didn't get too much of their marriage in the modern continuity. There was more of a Silver Age, but Lois and Clark, I think it was. I can understand why they did it, and I think it was handled well. It's not like Mephisto came out of nowhere and dissolved their marriage. It was just a reboot. But I need to be promised that those two are going to get back together because they had a good marriage and a good relationship. And uh, I think one of the things is comic books don't think that marriages can last, which is wrong. They can. They can. They think it's very soap opera-y and that marriages can't last long or relationships. No. There's certain. Look at Animal Man is one of the best examples. Animal Man has a great balance when it comes down to his character-wise, when it comes down to his relationship with his wife and his superhero-ness or his being a character. It's there, and there's a good balance there. Why? And we've done that for 10 years, 10 plus years with Superman. Um, so why are we having trouble now? Why did we? I think I want Lois and Clark to eventually be together. Within the next 3 years, I think they should get back together. Hmm? What, you want to have a love? No, people don't want love triangles with Superman. They want stability with Superman, and again, the girl is one of the stabilities. That's one of the reasons why I like Superman's relationship so much. Is it's not all over the place. He's not going to like 5 different love interests. It's a stable, loving relationship, which I think is handled well. Um, Hawk Girl. There's hints that she might be coming back, but with Hawk Girl, we have Earth 2's Hawk Girl, but I'm talking about Shire Hall, and I want Shire back. So they brought her back in the Brightest Day, and I was so pumped. And then they took her away in Brightest Day. Where is Shire Hall? Give me Shire Hall now. So that's another thing that does bother me a bit. Um, Few minor things that did tick me off. For example, I think Martian Manhunter should have been a founding member on Justice League International. He should have been there instead of Batman. It would have fit well, and it would have been a better place than Stormwatch. There's a few titles I think should have been in the New 52 from the get-go that weren't. Like I said, uh, I don't think a Superboy title is necessary. I think a Red Robin title would have been better than a Superboy title. Uh, Costume things are a little bothersome too. I don't like. I mean, I love 90% of the new costumes. I do. I told you that. But there's a few I think look bad. Like Red Robin's costume is just too messy. I think the costume that he wore in his little digital dream he was doing that looked kind of like Nightwing's costume, but not. I think that would have been a good costume. Domino mask, pretty much a clear jumpsuit leotard kind of thing with like wings on it as a symbol, and then the Red Robin symbol in the center with a belt. I think that would have been great. Supergirl's costume, I want the midriff. I want the skirt. I think that's Supergirl's costume. I don't like the new one. Well, it's not that I don't like the new one. I don't like it as much as the older one. Plain simple. Plain, flat, and simple. So some of the costumes, I think they could have handled a little bit better, just a little bit. Um, but besides that, there's bads. But most of my bads are just small, minor continuity gripes. On the whole, as I said before, I love the new 52. I am behind it 100%. I think it was a good move. And, again, I think I have some unpopular beliefs with some stuff. Like, I'm okay with Wally West not being Flash. A lot of people will disagree with me with that, and you will try to smite me down. Uh, or I'm okay with him not even being Kid Flash. I wouldn't mind if he came back and he became his own character and his own thing, which would be awesome. Uh, But for the most part, I love the New 52, and I'm glad they did it. And kudos to you for DC because you keep my passion for comics alive. You really do. So I'm gonna end this video here. The question I have for you is this: what are your opinions on the New 52? Are you fully behind it? Do you embrace it like I do? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Please let me know, either in a video response or in the comments. Let me know, okay? I'm going to end this video here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.